One day, without warning, without drama, without a moment that feels special, you will realize something simple and devastating. That your life has gone too far to return to who you once were. Not because there is no other path, but because you walked the same one for too long, and habit is stronger than desire. Regret never arrives loudly. It doesn't crash into your life. It doesn't destroy everything overnight. It arrives quietly, silently, almost politely. It grows from small choices you told yourself didn't matter, waking up with no real intention, living each day just to get through it, comforting yourself by saying, "At least I'm surviving," and without realizing it, surviving becomes being trapped. Most people never notice their life is leaking. A little time gone today, a little energy gone tomorrow, a little courage erased each week. Not enough to cause panic, not bad enough to force change. That is exactly what makes it lethal. You begin to tolerate what drains you for the sake of feeling safe. A job that slowly empties you, a relationship that keeps you small, an environment that dulls your voice. And you tell yourself, this is realistic, this is adulthood, this is just life. When in truth, it is only fear wearing the mask of responsibility. Every time you ignore the quiet voice inside you that whispers, "I want more," you train yourself to stop listening to yourself. And one day, when you truly need direction, that voice will be too weak to guide you. Regret is born from small compromises. Today you tolerate what feels wrong. Tomorrow you justify it. Soon you defend it as if it were the only option. Not because it is right, but because admitting the truth hurts too much. You say, "I have no choice," but what really happened is this. You refused to face the consequences of choosing differently. And that is human, but it is also dangerous, because the life you live today is the result of choices you once avoided making. Not all regret looks like failure. Many regrets look like silence. Silence when you should have spoken. Silence when you should have left. Silence when you should have said, "Enough." And every silence stacks up until one bitter realization remains. You betrayed yourself more often than you are willing to admit. You think, "I still have time." But time does not wait for readiness. It only counts steps. And every year that passes without honest change makes that change feel heavier, farther away, almost impossible. There is a moment in life when you realize you are no longer young, but you have also not become who you once imagined. That moment is quiet. No one celebrates it. No one warns you. Only one question remains. Where did all that time go? The cruelest regret does not come from total failure. It comes from realizing your life was good enough to endure, but too empty to be proud of. And that is where most people get stuck for the rest of their lives. They are not suffering enough to change, but not happy enough to stop questioning. They live in between, and without noticing, the middle becomes the graveyard of their dreams. If you feel uneasy listening to this, that is a sign you are still alive. There is still a part of you that has not gone numb, and that matters, because numbness is the beginning of permanent regret. Your life is not broken. It has only been postponed for too long. And every postponement whispers the same lie, "I'll deal with it later." But later is not a promise. It is an illusion. If you do not change today, it does not mean you are incapable. It means you chose short-term comfort over long-term cost, and that cost will be collected quietly, without emotion, without warning. The biggest reason your life does not change is not because you don't know what to do. You do. You know which relationship to leave. You know which habits are destroying you. You know which potential you are ignoring. The problem is not ignorance. The problem is fear. And not dramatic fear, not panic, but quiet fear. Fear that sounds reasonable. Fear that feels logical. Fear that keeps you still. You fear losing the version of life you already know, even if that life hurts. It feels safe because it is familiar. Known pain always feels safer than unknown freedom, and that is why so many people choose suffering over change. You fear failing after finally trying, because as long as you never try, failure remains imaginary, still deniable, still excusable. But once you move, failure becomes visible, and that is terrifying. There is another fear few people admit: fear of succeeding. Fear that your life might truly change and you will no longer be able to hide behind excuses. Fear that others will expect more. Fear that you won't be able to say, "I'm still figuring it out." The deepest fear is not failing in front of others. It is seeing yourself honestly, because honesty demands responsibility, and responsibility demands action, and action destroys illusions. You say, "I'm not ready," but readiness does not come before change. It comes after movement. No one ever feels ready to live truthfully. They are simply exhausted from living falsely. Guilt also holds you back. Guilt for leaving people behind. Guilt for choosing yourself. Guilt for disappointing expectations you never created. And so, you sacrifice your life to preserve other people's comfort, even though no one will live your life for you. One day, you will realize many of your decisions were not made for your life, but for other people's approval. And then you will ask, why am I the one paying the price? The answer is simple: because it is your life. Fear makes you rationalize. You call delay planning. You call fear being cautious. You call surrender maturity. And without noticing, you build stories to protect yourself from the guilt of not moving. There is nothing wrong with being afraid. What is dangerous is letting fear control your entire life. Because fear is never satisfied. Today, it asks for one sacrifice. Tomorrow, it demands everything. Regret does not come from one bad decision. It comes from too many decisions never made. And when you finally look back, what you feel is not only sadness, it is anger. Anger at yourself, because you know you could have done more. There is nothing heavier than carrying unused potential to the end of your life. That is not pain. That is a burden. If you continue living like this, knowing the direction but never moving, understanding the truth but never acting, then one day regret will no longer hurt. It will become who you are. And at that point, life did not betray you. You betrayed yourself. You do not need a perfect life. You do not need a 10-year plan. You do not need massive courage. You need one honest thing, one small decision you cannot undo. Not to change everything, but to change direction. If today you choose silence, that is still a choice, and life will respect it coldly. It will keep moving without waiting for you. But if today you choose one small, honest step, frightening, uncomfortable, uncertain, then for the first time, life will feel like it belongs to you.